unbilled has been put over, and 2 bills have been sent to the floor under Rule 28.8. They are AB 1192 and and AB 1307. So AB 1192 and AB 1307 have been sent to the floor. AB 350 and AB 215 have been put over. Senator De Leon, did I see you in the front row? Welcome. We will begin with item 116. Welcome back.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to see you once again as we move forward with the next 4 weeks of a lot of work.
Begin whenever you're ready, Senator.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair, as well as Madam Vice Chair, as well as colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to present SB 116, the California Jobs and Investment Act. This bill seeks to save California taxpayers over $1 billion per year through the implementation of a single sales factor that is mandatory. Given the Comptroller's news last week that cash receipts are $539 million below projections for the month of July, the fact that our state only has a $500 million reserve, and the looming trigger that threatens another round of devastating cuts to education as well as health and human services, securing increased revenues is more important than ever. Since your last committee, Madam Chair, on this hearing, one more state, the state of New Jersey, has been added to the growing list of states that have enacted a mandatory single sales factor. This is a noteworthy development given that Republican Governor Chris Christie, the New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, and the New Jersey Business and Industry Association all have supported mandatory single sales factor to benefit companies in their home state. Other states that have adopted single sales factor mandatory did so for the exact same reasons. Now is the time for California to follow suit to get rid of the competitive disadvantage and level the playing field for all California-based businesses. On a final note, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, on the single sales factor issue, it has been said that a deal is a deal and that businesses are hurt by a lack of consistency. I would wholeheartedly agree. However, a deal is only a deal when there's a mutual understanding of what the deal is. When the annual elective single sales factor was passed as part of a late-night budget package in February of 2009, without vetting through either a policy or fiscal committee, I believe that most members of the legislature had no idea as to the magnitude, the ramifications of the fiscal ramifications of this measure. Given the circumstances, we should be able to visit bad tax policy. As for consistency, I do believe that a mandatory single sales factor is the best interest of consistency. The trend around the nation is states moving towards a mandatory single sales factor, and for consistency's sake, we should do this for jobs in California. Colleagues, and finally, let me just add, this is not a Democratic issue, nor is this a Republican issue. This is a jobs issue. The current annual elective apportionment method, simply put, is a job killer, period. Our current unemployment rate in California is 11.8%, the second highest in the nation. When you add the states of Nevada, Michigan, Florida, as well as Rhode Island, when you add the raw numbers together, they still don't equate to the 2.1 million individuals we have officially that are unemployed in the state of California. We need to put California first, not create jobs for Texans, not create jobs for New Yorkers, or create jobs for Arizonians. With that, Madam Chair, from the last committee hearing that we have included a few major components: a higher education investment tax credit designed to direct more resources to our underfunded colleges and universities, a sales tax exemption on the purchase of manufacturing equipment, and expansion of the jobs tax credit, as well as the cost of performance. In the Senate Governance and Finance Committee, which was heard in the prior summer recess, I agreed to amendments that will be taken on the floor if the bill moves out of your committee, Madam Chair, as per Senate Rule 2910. With that, Madam Chair, I respectfully
We'll go to
ask
your
for
witnesses, Senator. Thank you. I want to welcome Senator Ted Lieu and my Vice Chair, Senator Mimi Walters. We are still waiting for Senator Rehnquist, Senator Price. Senator Runner's going to be absent today?
Yes.
All righty. Are the sergeants checking with Senator Rehnquist and Senator Price? We need to get them to the hearing room, please. All righty, we will go to testimony in favor and then opposition testimony. I will take 3 speakers on each side, and then the remaining speakers will just state their position on the bill. Then we'll hear from the Department of Finance. Everyone, you can see it's a very long file, so we want testimony strictly on the fiscal aspects of the bill.
Sure.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Andrea Jackson, Director of Government Affairs for Genentech. We strongly support this bill. It is a job creator in California, and it's going to help biotech and other industries create jobs here in California as opposed to in other states. And so we would strongly recommend that you support this bill because it is a job creator and it's good for our industry, and we appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, Richard Engelhardt, Director of Government Affairs for Bay Bio, the Life Sciences Association, representing the almost 2,000 companies engaged in biomedical research in the Bay Area. We are strongly in support of this bill. I've spent the last year plus working on biotech, biomedical issues in all 50 states, and I can tell you that the states that really go out of their way to provide incentives for industry and provide incentives for job creation favor this policy. It's pretty much universal across the board, and we are in strong support.
Mike Robeson on behalf of Qualcomm, and we're in support of the bill. Thank you.
And we're still in favor. Have we had our 3 speakers? All right. Then, anyone else in favor, come on up and state your name.
Name is C.T. Weber, State Chair, California Peace and Freedom Party, and we are in favor.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll go to the opposition. No more testimony in favor. Seeing none, we'll move to opposition testimony, and we'll take the first 3 speakers opposed to the measure. And this is a do pass, members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, Mira Gerton here on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce in opposition to this bill. Unlike some of the statements made by the prior speakers, this is not a job creator. SB 116 would offer incentives and offers resources to some employers on the backs of other employers. It represents over $1 billion of tax increases for employers, and I think it's often been stated that this is somehow an in-state versus out-of-state issue. And again, it's not. It's much more complicated than that. And just to give you an example, if you look at retailers like a large national retail chain, they will have thousands of employees in California regardless of where they're headquartered. And for people and for companies and employers like that, this will represent a huge tax increase. And it may cause them to say, why don't I expand in my market in Texas, or expand in my market in Florida or in New York or anywhere else where they need to saturate the market. And so we discourage them from moving here. It will kill those jobs in order to provide jobs for other companies, and that will not overall do for the betterment of the California economy. Thank you.
Next, please. This is opposition testimony. Is there any more opposition testimony? Seeing none, Department of Finance, do you have a comment on the bill?
Madam Chair, John Lloyd, Department of Finance. I don't have an approved position on the bill. I would just note that we've identified costs of about $500,000 for the Franchise Tax Board, or the Board of Equalization to implement the bill, and we've noted about that the bill would result in increased revenues of about...
Just a little bit louder, Mr. Lloyd.
We would note that the bill would result in increased revenues of about $1.5 billion.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further testimony? Question from Vice Chair?
I have a question for the proponents.
Can one of the supporters come up to the bench, please?
Maybe you can take it, Mr. DeLeon. I just am curious what financial benefits there are if you go from an elective to a mandatory single sales factor, because it seems to me you can take it now as an elective.
You want to answer? We'll do both. I'll answer both. I want a perspective actually from a California-based headquartered company. Then I'll give you my perspective.
We can take the benefit either way, yes. But what this does is incentivize us to build in California as opposed to another state. If it's elective, we're happy to build in Oregon, single sales factor state, Nevada, Arizona. If it's mandatory, it's going to incentivize us to have bricks and mortar and additional employees in California, because tax-wise, it will be beneficial to us. Right now, it's beneficial to us to build in other states, and that's what we'll do. That's what we've done, and that's what we'll do. We would prefer to build in California and add jobs here, but without this policy, we'll build elsewhere.
Anything else, Senator? Thank you. Any further questions? Senator Liu.
Thank you. I have a question for the opponents of this measure. My question basically is what California businesses would be hurt if this measure were enacted into law?
Senator De Leon.
Or the author can answer it.
Well, yeah, Senator Liu, it is my understanding, since I've been carrying this measure for 2 years now, we don't have any California-based, headquartered, multi-state corporations that would be negatively affected by a mandatory single sales factor. As Ms. Jackson just articulated with representing Genentech, the incentive is to keep California job expansion in California as opposed to Oregon, Nevada, or Arizona. It incentivizes, because what it is, again, and let me underscore, because I don't want to get cute by half and overcomplicate this. It's a very simple issue.
Miss, we'll call you up if we need more information. Thank you.
Let me not overcomplicate, again, because this is not a partisan issue. It's a jobs issue. If you have a California-based multi-state corporation, and with the current tax system, that being elective and optional, if you want to create more jobs and expand jobs, you're incentivized with the current tax system to do so outside of California. So the individual taxpayer in California, everybody in this hall and throughout the state, actually incentivizes through their tax dollars job creation elsewhere because of the current system.
All righty, Senator Liu. And
I'd like to hear from the opposition from the chamber on that question.
And any other questions, members? We'll call the roll then after the speaker, and we can take this up for vote. Yes.
And I think I just wanted to clarify that the question is how will this hurt in-state employers as well as out-of-state employers? And I think that's really how you define in-state versus out-of-state. Again, I think we've talked a lot about where people are headquartered, and that it's true that a lot of companies that are headquartered in California will experience a tax decrease under elective single sales factor and using single sales factor. But that does not mean that no California employers will be harmed. There are employers such as large retailers that hire 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 Californians, and if you raise their taxes by $100 million, that will influence how many resources they have to continue to expand, to build another retail store, and to provide more jobs in California. So this is really not in-state versus out-of-state. It just depends on how your business is located and how large of a presence you have nationally, not just in California.
Any other questions, members? Seeing none, Senator De Leon, you may close. Then we'll do a roll call very briefly.
It'll be very short, Cox. I know you have a long agenda. Just a couple things. One is that with regards to out-of-state corporations, I want to just use quickly 2 examples on the issue of cost of performance, and I won't get into details of cost of performance, but we have 2 cable companies, Time Warner, headquartered in Manhattan in New York, as well as another cable company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. These two cable companies have a large footprint, although headquartered outside the state of California. They have a minimum investment of $250 million, so they have large brick and mortar as well as employees in California. If you're a GM, for example, headquartered in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, and your footprint here is only to sell to your consumer here, but not any type of job creation because there are no jobs created here because they don't make cars in the state of California. You know, your bottom line, whether it's hurt or not, the reality is in a free market enterprise, if folks do want to buy a GM car, they will. And if they don't, they don't. It's just that simple. I don't think businesses will be hurt the way it's being touted. And just the last thing I would add, Madam Chair, as well as members, we still don't know who officially opposes this measure, who are businesses outside of the state of California. We have asked for the list for 2 years now. We don't have an official opposition from any single multi-state corporation in the nation as of today. So with that, Madam Chair, as well as members, I would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank
the
you.
bill.
Thank you, Senator Leon.
I move the bill.
Thank you, Senator Liu. This is a due pass, members. We need to first establish a quorum, and then I'll take your motion. Please call the roll.
Kehoe?
Here.
Kehoe here. Walters? Here. Walters here. Alquist?
Here.
Alquist here. Emerson? Emerson here. Liu?
Here.
Liu here. Pavley? Price? Here. Price here. Runner? Steinberg?
All righty. We have a quorum, and I'll take Senator Liu's motion. Due pass on SB 116. Please call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, no. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Aye. Price, aye. Runner? Steinberg? It's currently 4-2.
The bill has 4 votes. It needs 5. I'll hold the roll open for the 2 absent members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members.
Next is Senator Runner. She is absent today. She's waived presentation on this item, but I would ask the public, is there testimony in favor of SB 640, income and corporation taxes? Testimony in favor of SB 640. Is there opposition testimony to SB 640? Opposition, come on up, please.
Lenny Goldberg, California Tax Reform Association. We have never seen any evidence that employment credits of any form make any difference in decision-making by employers. We think this is a waste of money. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Goldberg. Any other testimony for or against SB 640? Department of Finance, do you have a comment?
We've estimated that the loss in revenue would be about $44 million in 2011-12 and $18 million the following year. We have an opposed position.
All righty. Thank you. Members, this is a candidate for suspense. If there's no objection, it'll go to the suspense file. Senator Liu, you have the next item, SB 921, and you have waived presentation on that as well. It is a candidate for suspense, but I'll ask for testimony in favor of SB 921, the Office of Inspector General. Is there testimony in favor? Seeing none, is there testimony opposed? Seeing none, is there opposition testimony? Okay, seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment?
I have no position on this.
Then, without objection, we'll go to suspense. Senator LaMalfa, do you want to present on SB 3 in the first extraordinary session?
Yes, I will.
Help our state fund.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair. Members, missed you all. So now we're tanned, rested, and ready to do some quality legislating the next 3 weeks, I'm sure. So glad to be here to present on my SB 3. Again, some of you have seen it already, and I'm really happy to have 37 bipartisan, bicameral co-authors on this measure, so I'll keep it brief. Again, it's a simple measure to provide a form on the tax form, a line there for people to help our state by sending in voluntary contributions. Now, perhaps they can do it now, but there's no easy way for people to find where they should fill that out, where they would, if they want to send an additional contribution in to help the state general fund. So what we're providing is a line on the 540 form that makes it very plain and simple to do that. Some cases, if people send in extra money, it might come back as a refund because the state doesn't believe they should keep it, so which is admirable. But for those that have expressed a desire to voluntarily send in contributions, this provides that. So I'm bringing along the prop I used before. Wouldn't it look exactly like this, but this is kind of the format we would be looking for here, working with the folks at Franchise Tax Board on providing that additional line. And so we accepted the amendments in the Governance and Finance Committee that would make it much like the rest of the tax checkoff lines in there. And it'll be a 5-year sunset on that to see if it's effective or not. So I would ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator. Is there testimony in favor of SB 3 in the first extraordinary session, in favor of the Help Our State Fund? Is there opposition? Any opposition? Department of Finance, do you have a comment on this one?
We're neutral on the bill.
All righty. Members, any comments or questions? Thank you, Senator. Members, I have to say I applaud your good intentions, Senator LaMalfa, but I think that it puts the state in competition with other worthy causes on the checkoff list, whether it's the environment or illness or other good intended causes, and I'm not sure how effective it'll be. I can't support it, but we have a motion on the bill, and I will, unless there's further questions, call the roll.
Kehoe?
No.
Kehoe, no. Walters? Aye. Walters, aye. Alquist? Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, aye. Liu? Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Price, no. Runner? Steinberg?
4 to 2, you need one more, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you.
Members.
Mr. Mendoza, you have one item, AB 22. If other authors could report to the hearing room, we can take you up. And you may begin whenever you're ready, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I'm here to present AB 22, which limits the use of credit reports in the hiring process. This bill has been introduced before. Basically, we're limiting the ability of an employer to check a person's credit history as a means to see if they're trustworthy or to see if they have any kind of past precedents. We're trying to.
Thank you.
The community analysis estimates the minor cost for investigation, $58,000 in this 2011-2012 year, and $115,000 for the 2012-2013 year, to be paid from a special fund. We just respectfully ask for your
All righty. Do you have witnesses, Mr. Goldberg?
Yes. Lenny Goldberg on behalf of Privacy Rights Clearinghouse. We find that credit reports often have inaccurate information that are very difficult to correct. Our organization deals extensively with credit reports, and they can be really negative checks on you when they should not be. Very unfair to somebody who's looking for an employment situation. This bill deals with some of the cases where you're handling money and you need to do a credit check, but for many, many employees, the credit checks are inaccurate and should not be used as part of a condition of employment. People also, when they're unemployed, get into trouble, but that does not mean they're a good employer. This is a very important bill to the Privacy Rights Clearinghouse. Thank you.
Next, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, Mitch Seaman with the California Labor Federation here in support. As was mentioned, this is a bill you've seen before. Really, the only difference is that the need for the bill has grown that much more critical. As we've seen, the years of down economic times have taken an extremely heavy toll on California's working families, and with it, there's been an impact to their credit histories. Frankly, there have been bills that have been unpaid. There have been other issues that are reflected in a credit report. But the key point is that these in no way indict someone as an irresponsible worker, and there's no evidence that connects blemishes on a credit record to likely future job performance, to the likelihood of actually stealing from the workplace, which is an accusation that we've heard before. And given this total lack of evidence that connects the two, really all this is both an invasion of privacy and an arbitrary means to exclude people from the workforce that are the very people that we need to be getting back to work. And that's frankly what we see this bill as, is an important measure to put people back to work. There are exemptions within the bill for when it does make sense, when it is related to the job in question. And for those reasons, we urge your support.
All righty, and we'll take the third testimony.
Oh, I'll just be brief. Mariko Yoshihara with the California Employment Lawyers Association. We're in strong support.
Okay, name and position on the bill.
Beth McGovern on behalf of the California Commission on the Status of Women, in strong support.
All righty.
Christy Bauma, California Professional Firefighters, in support.
Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the Consumer Federation of California in support of the bill.
Any other testimony in favor? Testimony in favor. Is there opposition testimony to AB 22 by Mr. Mendoza? Please come up. I'll take the first three and then just the name and position on the bill.
Madam Chair, members, Mike Belote for the California Employment Law Council. Very briefly, this will drive up enforcement costs.
Excuse me, Mr. Belote, just 1 second. Sergeants, we need to have a little order in the front door and the back door, please. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This will drive up enforcement costs, will cost the state money to enforce, will also drive up litigation and costs on California business. We've been in lengthy discussions with the author, have suggested amendments that have not yet been accepted. The problem with the bill is, the biggest problem is that it limits the ordering of a credit report to a management person. There are all kinds of people in California who have access to money and significant assets of a business who are not managers. So you will have debates about whether or not it is legal to order a credit report, which will be litigated and which will require enforcement by California government. We have, again, suggested amendments which would, we think, allow for the ordering of credit reports when necessary, when people have access to sensitive information, when they have access to assets of the company, significant assets of the company, or money. And so far, these have not been accepted. The amendments we've suggested are consistent with the few states that have chosen to legislate in this area. We do not believe it's necessary to legislate in this area and will drive up costs and litigation. But if it is necessary to legislate, we would ask that our amendments be adopted. So far, they have not been, and we are strongly opposed to the bill, as we have been in past years.
Thank you. Next, please.
Yes, Francie Kaler, the past president, current ledge chair of the California Association of Licensed Investigators. We have over 1,600 members, many of whom do background checks for employers and businesses. I should state that if there's any adverse action on a credit report, it's simply a tool to use for screening employees. It's one of many tools for pre-employment and post-employment. And if there is adverse action, that employee, there's provisions for that employee to get an opportunity to address the adverse action or explain it. Also, anything that's inaccurate. I see the restrictions actually in the bill as a risk to consumers, because many employees, not just management employees, but many employees have access to private personal information, to protected medical information, and many other things that we are all susceptible to having our information accessed, or to identity theft. Mr. Mendoza's concern that stock people and dishwashers and people that hold those kinds of jobs are prohibited from working is not true, because those people are not, credit reports are not done on those people in those positions. Credit reports are typically ordered on people who are in positions where they are handling personal identifying information and protected information for the company. I ask you to oppose this measure unless it's amended. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Third speaker, and then everyone else's name and position on the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senators Julianne Broyles here on behalf of the California Association of Joint Powers Authorities. Certainly, we associate ourselves with the remarks made by the Employment Law Council and others. For public employers, I think there is, again, it's something that we have to make sure everyone knows. We have an obligation not only to our constituents, but also to the taxpayer. Our people handle bid documents, grant permits, they enforce laws, they make other recommendations that can have a profound fiscal impact on the taxpayer and a city, county, municipality, school district, etc. We've asked for an exemption from this bill from day one of our opposition. That has not yet been addressed by the author. For these reasons, we would ask for a no vote.
Thank you. Next, please.
Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee, Kara Bush with the California Grocers Association. We're also in opposition for the reasons previously stated. Thank you.
All righty. Next, please.
Irene Ortega for the California State Association of Counties and California Welfare Directors in opposition.
Thank you.
Matt Sutton with the California Restaurant Association in opposition.
Madam Chair, John Hanley, California Independent Grocers Association, also in opposition.
Amy Maga with the California Chamber of Commerce in opposition.
Robert Callahan with Tech America. We are also in opposition.
Amber Wiley with the Association of California Healthcare Districts, also in opposition.
Iris Herrera with the California Special Districts Association in opposition. Megan Loper on behalf of the California Hospital Association, also in opposition.
Margaret Gladstein on behalf of the California Retailers Association in opposition.
Phil Vermeulen representing the engineering contractors, strong opposition.
All righty. Additional testimony for or against AB 22. Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment?
We're neutral on the bill.
Mr. Lloyd, what was that?
We are neutral on the bill.
Neutral on the bill. Okay, thank you. Members, any comments? This is a due pass. Senator Liu.
Yeah. In policy committee, I stated that if amendments were not taken to this bill, I probably wouldn't vote for it on the Senate floor. Amendments have not been taken, but it's also not yet the Senate floor, so I'm going to vote for it today. But if the bill looks exactly the same way it is on the floor, I probably won't vote for it then.
Have a motion, members? Question from Senator Alquist.
I have a question. What were the amendments you asked for? I know this is not the policy committee, if you could say it in 10 seconds.
They were some, but not all of the opposition's amendments, so it's sort of complicated.
Okay, we'll talk. Thank you.
Yeah. We're working on some. Yeah.
Senator Emerson, do you have a comment? All righty. Motion, members? Thank you, Senator Price. This is a due pass. Motion by Senator Price. Call the roll, please.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? No. Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? No. Emerson, no. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Pavley? Pavley, aye. Price? Price, aye. Runner? Steinberg? 5-2.
That's 5-2, and I'll close the roll. I'm trying not to keep too many items open if we can help it. In fact, members, can we return to SB 116 and SB 3 in the special session and dispense with those items? Members, we're returning to the first item on the file, SB 116. This is by Senator De Leon. It was a motion by Senator Alquist, I believe. Senator Liu. Thank you. And it is 4-2. Will you call the absent members?
Pavley?
116. De Leon.
This is the first file item by Senator De Leon.
Pavley, aye. Runner? Steinberg?
That is 5-2. That bill is out. Senator Steinberg can add on. The next one is Senator LaMalfa's SB 3 in the first special session. It is 4-2, and call the absent members. The chair is no, and the vice chair is aye.
Pavley? Pavley, aye. Runner? Steinberg? 5-2.
That bill is out. 5-2. All righty. I think I saw Mr. Fuentes. Mr. Fuentes has a number of items. You're presenting on AB 6, is that it? And then the claims bill.
And also Assembly Bill 1069,
yes.
Madam Chair, and I'd like to waive presentation on Assembly Bill 124, Assembly Bill 228, and Assembly Bill 1072.
Correct. All righty. SB 6?
Very good. Thank you.
AB 6, excuse me.
AB 6, members, good morning. Today I'm presenting before you Assembly Bill 6, which would recognize California's current stature in the nation in terms of participation in the federal food stamp program, which is to say we're not in a good place. Nearly 50% of Californians who are eligible do not receive the federal nutrition aid that they are entitled to. Even more disturbing, over 2/3 of working families who are eligible for CalFresh benefits are not receiving them. That means that the neediest Californians are not receiving the benefits that help prevent children from going hungry and that California is entitled to receive. One factor that contributes to that problem is that the state has made it unnecessarily difficult for families to access the CalFresh benefits that they're eligible for. This bill would streamline our CalFresh administrative process and ensure that families are able to put food on their tables. By increasing participation in eligible benefits, this bill could serve as a massive economic stimulus package for California, as we know that federal dollars are leveraged to the tune of $1.27 per dollar. This bill would dramatically increase the amount of food aid that low-income Californians would be eligible for. It would create about $850 million in increased federal benefits to low-income Californians. That could translate to $1.4 billion in increased economic activity statewide and nearly $10 million in additional local tax revenue. This bill is an important measure to California. We know that we're in the painful depths of a recession. Children are hungry, and we have no federal general fund to invest, but we must do something. The very least that we can do is remove the barriers that we currently have in place and try to figure out how to get what California rightfully deserves, which is these very precious federal dollars. I understand that the Office of Finance's position on the bill. However, we have had very constructive meetings with the director of the office, and we believe we can work out some of the minor issues that they have with the bill to remove their opposition. Today, we have with us the president and CEO of the San Diego Food Bank to testify in support. Also, a representative from the California Food Policy Advocates here as a sponsor, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Members, this more than meets the requirement for suspense. We're going to hear from 3 witnesses in favor, 3 witnesses opposed, and then we'll also take additional testimony, name, and position on the bill. We'll start with the witnesses. Welcome.
Honorary Chair Kehoe and honorable members of the committee. I'm Schofield Hage, President and CEO of the Jacobs and Cushman San Diego Food Bank, which strongly supports the Assembly Bill 6, which seeks to increase efficiency and streamline the application process for CalFresh benefits. I'm also representing the California Association of Food Banks and the 40 other food banks that are members of the association. Our food bank is feeding more people than ever in the past 34-year history. We are currently feeding over 350,000 people per month, which is an increase over 200,000 people in 2008. The recession and weak economy has seen our numbers increase exponentially. But as an emergency relief organization, we simply cannot sustain long-term support for so many families in need. We see increasing CalFresh participation as a long-term solution to the problem of hunger in our society. Increasing CalFresh benefits also enable low-income families to purchase healthier food items, including the fresh fruits and vegetables, which are more expensive than cheaper carbohydrate-rich food items. California and San Diego County's CalFresh participation rate needs to be increased significantly. California has the second lowest food stamp participation rate in the country, and San Diego County has one of the lowest rates amongst 25 major metropolitan areas. Our participation rate in San Diego County is roughly 35% based upon independent surveys, and I might add that that is an increase from 28% 4 years ago because of the strong support that we've had from the charitable communities in San Diego encouraging additional support. Increasing participation levels to near 100% of eligible households, as other states have done, could mean an additional $4.9 billion in federal benefits for needy Californians. According to the Food Research Action Center, San Diego County loses over $100 million in food stamp benefits every year. We are strongly supportive of this bill, which will reduce paperwork, eliminate finger imaging requirements, and streamline the overall process. We still face turbulent economy, and our unemployment rate in San Diego County is still at a frightening high level.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And we do appreciate the information, and I certainly agree with you on San Diego's situation. We have a number of other witnesses, so we'll move on.
Thank you, Chairwoman Kehoe, members of the committee. My name is Alexis Fernandez, and I'm with the California Food Policy Advocates. We're sponsors of AB6. AB6 provides an opportunity, as mentioned, to improve program efficiency, ease administrative burdens, maintain program integrity, and improve access for clients, all while saving money in the long run. We think there are a few opportunities out there today that can offer outcomes like these and encourage your support, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Next, please. And can we have that third seat, please?
Great.
Yep. And if you folks could go off that way. Come on up. No. Okay, one more speaker, and then its name and position on the bill. Go ahead.
Madam Chair and members, Monica Miller on behalf of the Jewish Public Affairs Committee of California, as well as Jewish Family and Children's Services of Los Angeles and San Francisco, and we are in support of the bill, and we thank the author.
Thank you. Next, please.
Michael Richard with ARP California on behalf of our 3.1 million members in support.
Thank you.
Judith Michaels on behalf of Jericho in support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Libby Sanchez on behalf of Laborers Local 777 and 792 in strong support.
Jessica Bartholow, Western Center on Law and Poverty, in support.
Kara Bush with the California Grocers Association in support.
Matt Sutton with the California Restaurant Association in support.
Kevin Asley and Coalition California Welfare Rights Organization in support.
Kathy Sunderling McDonald with the County Welfare Directors Association. We're in support. I will note we are neutral on the portion of the bill that would eliminate the finger imaging system.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter, in support.
Linda Warner with the California Catholic Conference in strong support.
Beth McGovern with the California Commission on the Status of Women in support.
Jeanette Sanipati, Legislative Staff Attorney for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, also in strong support.
Matthew Mawson with Public Health Institute in strong support.
Nicole Wortelman on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, as well as the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, in support.
Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the California Immigrant Policy Center in support.
Ana Quiros on behalf of the Latino Coalition for a Healthy California, in support.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Opposition testimony? Come on up, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Martha Flammer representing the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. And we have an opposed unless amended position related specifically to the statewide fingerprint imaging system in AB6. And on the other points in the bill, the semi-annual reporting and the initiative, we are neutral on that point. We appreciate Assemblymember Fuentes' effort to try to increase CalFresh participation and work with us in addressing our opposed unless amended position. We also believe that our amendment preserves that goal to increase access to CalFresh benefits. SFIS is the only tool that is able to detect and deter multiple case fraud. In addition to reducing fraud, SFIS increases public confidence and integrity in the welfare system, which is translated into public support for public assistance for a modest investment of 37 cents per $100 of CalWorks grants. The state has implemented SFIS due to a successful audit finding, which has been referenced in your committee analysis of the automated fingerprint imaging reporting and match system known as AFFIRM. Los Angeles County implemented that in 1991 to reduce a high number of duplicate applications in the general relief program, and it was found to be successful in that it virtually eliminated multiple aid fraud in that GR program, and it was expanded to the Aid to Families with Dependent Children program in 94. Following that, Ernst & Young was contracted by LA County to evaluate the AFDC AFFIRM federal demonstration project and found that AFFIRM was effective in deterring and detecting multiple aid fraud as well in the GR, AFDC, and other aided programs. And a third-party evaluator, Applied Management and Planning Group, prepared a report in '96 and provided similar conclusions, and also provided the net savings, the net benefit savings, which is included in the analysis of the committee for the program. So it pretty much saves the cost of the program, and there's a savings in duplicative fraud in the public assistance program.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Corey Salzillo on behalf of the California District Attorneys Association. We're opposed to the bill. We're concerned about spending money to create a program or to undo a program that could potentially hinder efforts to prosecute public assistance fraud.
So you're objecting just to the fingerprint portion?
No, to the semi-annual reporting, because the semi-annual reporting means we only get income reports, or their only income reports are available every 6 months, whereas currently they're available every 3 months. And so you have a twin situation of you will have fewer pieces of evidence, and you can allow fraud to go undetected for longer. Additionally, we are opposed to the elimination of the fingerprint requirement.
Thank you. Any other speakers opposed to the bill? Opposed? Seeing none, Department of Finance, do you have a comment?
Madam Chair, we've identified costs of upwards of $117 million. We are opposed to the bill.
All righty. Members, this is a candidate for suspense. Is there any questions, objections? Then that will go to the suspense file. Mr. Fuentes, let's just go down your list in order. To the public, we're at item AB 124, Academic Content Standards. Mr. Fuentes has waived presentation, but is there public speakers in favor of AB 124? Anybody in favor? Miss, are you coming up for this? Come, please. And anybody opposed to AB 124, please be prepared to speak. Come on up. And this is a candidate for suspense. Introduce yourself, please.
Sherry Griffith with the Association of California School Administrators. We are a co-sponsor of the measure and in strong support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Martha Zaragoza Diaz, representing Californians Together. We're also a co-sponsor of the bill, and we're also very strongly in support. This is probably one of the most important bills affecting English learners for this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dolores Sanchez, representing the California Federation of Teachers in strong support.
Next, please.
Katie Valenzuela, Public Advocates in support.
All righty.
Joseph Vigela on behalf of the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights Los Angeles, also in support.
Next, please.
Patty Scripter, California State PTA, support.
Any other testimony in favor of AB 124? In favor. Opposition? Is there opposition to AB 124? All right, members, without objection, then Finance. Do you have a comment on this one?
I have no file on this one.
Without objection, then it will go to suspense, and we'll take up the state claims bill. Mr. Fuentes, AB 139.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill, AB 139, is an urgency measure which would appropriate $3 million from the general fund and special and federal funds to pay claims accepted by the Victim Compensation and Government Claims Board. Of the $3 million, $2.8 million is for California community colleges. This bill also would appropriate to the board $162,700 from the general fund to pay an erroneous conviction claim accepted by the board. There is no known opposition. The board and the Department of Finance support the payment of these claims. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Is there testimony in favor?
Yeah, good morning. John Myers, Victims Compensation Government Claims Board, sponsor of this bill, asking for your aye vote.
Thank you. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Any opposition?
I move the bill.
Thank you, Senator Alquist. This is a due pass. Finance, do you have a comment?
We're in support.
Thank you. Then will you please call the roll?
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Aye. Walters, aye. Alquist? Aye. Alquist, aye. Emerson? Aye. Emerson, aye. Liu? Aye. Liu, aye. Pavley? Aye. Pavley, aye. Price? Aye. Price, aye. Runner? Steinberg?
7-0, that bill is out. And we will go on to AB 228 by Mr. Fuentes, State Compensation Insurance Fund. He has waived presentation on this. Are there members of the public who want to speak in favor of AB 228? Members of the public who want to speak in favor of AB 228 on the State Compensation Insurance Board. Any opposition to AB 228? Finance, do you have a comment?
We're neutral on the bill.
All righty, members. Then if there's no objection, we'll put it in the suspense file. Next is the film tax credit. This is AB 1069. And Mr. Fuentes, this is a candidate for suspense, members. Mr. Fuentes will present. Then we'll take 3 speakers in favor, 3 speakers opposed. Everyone else just name a position. Whenever you're ready.
Very good. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm here today to present Assembly Bill 1069, which would extend the California Film and Television Tax Credit Program for an additional 5 years. The original program was enacted in 2009 as part of a targeted effort to create and retain jobs while increasing production spending and tax revenues for California. The program specifically targets productions that are the most likely to leave the state due to incentives being offered in other states and other countries. The current program is due to expire in fiscal year 2013-2014, and is essential that it be extended during the session of the legislature because the last credits will be allocated in July of 2012. By most measures, the program so far has been a tremendous success and should be extended. Recently, the Los Angeles Economic Development Corporation released a study on the economic impact of the first $200 million of tax credits that were allocated. The study found that more than 20,000 jobs were created and retained because of the tax credit program, and that it has generated more than $3.8 billion in economic activity and output in the state. At a time when Californians are struggling to find or maintain work, $728 million of the economic output has been spent on wages for an estimated 25,700 below-the-line crew and 6,100 cast members. Additionally, approximately 172,000 individuals have received daily employment as background extras. The program has attracted its target group of productions, basic cable TV series, mid-sized feature films, and TV movies, to stay here by enabling California to be competitive and to keep many of those at-risk films in the state. In fact, we've been successful at stealing productions from other states by offering the tax credit. Most recently, ABC's Body of Proof relocated here from Rhode Island, specifically because we were able to offer them the credit. That show will generate $43 million in economic activity and over 200 jobs this year alone in California. It's important to understand what a good investment this has been for the state. We've generated tens of thousands of jobs and billions in economic activity, and the first of the tax credits still have not been redeemed yet. This is not a giveaway to a production up front, but a post-production tax credit offered only after a thorough review has been completed, which demonstrates that a film or television show actually created and filmed jobs in California. Today, over 40 states and many major cities offer substantial financial incentives to see and try to get the film industry. They've been successful at luring production and post-production jobs and spending away from California. What we hear so often from the film industry is that they want to film here in California, but financially it just doesn't make sense anymore. What we're doing with this bill is retaining and creating jobs by leveling the playing field and making California competitive again. The entertainment industry is one of the signature industries here in the Golden State. New York would never let their signature industry, the financial industry, leave Wall Street, and I believe we can't afford to let our signature industry walk away from our great state. With the state's unemployment hovering around 12%, this incentive is essential to help keep hundreds of thousands of Californians employed. Extending this targeted, capped, and allocated incentive program will prevent production companies from moving their projects, jobs, and spending out of California. Today I have Angie Way from the Labor Federation and the California Labor Federation here in support of the bill, along with Ed Duffy with the Teamsters. We also have many members of the labor community and film industry here to express their support. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. We'll go to your witnesses. 3 witnesses in favor, and then everyone else just name and position on the bill. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm ready. My name's Ed Duffy. I'm a Teamster Local 399 business agent and trustee. We represent drivers, location managers, and casting directors of the entertainment industry. Prior to that, I was a location manager here in California for almost 30 years. From 1998 to 2009, the losses of jobs for our members fell off a cliff. Local jobs evaporated and forced many to leave their families for months on end to work in states such as Louisiana and Mexico and Michigan, where others are being trained to do the work that we have done for centuries, and production centers and stages are being built. Many move their families from California to these states just to survive. Others who work in this business for many years, and this is their only career, they've known, have lost their homes and search for other paths to make a living and feed their families. But we all know the reason: incentives. Film companies and corporations, just like any other corporation, is about the numbers. Many companies in the past few years would not even consider California. Many projects have been rewritten to change the location for California simply to follow the economics of tax credits in other states and countries. And who does it hurt? Not the companies. They can make their product anywhere, but all of us, the working people, the crews, the vendors and restaurants, dry cleaners, markets, and communities that they support and live in. I'm going to jump to the end because I know you don't. Are you? I hope that we keep that in mind.
So
I mean, I have a lot more to say.
No one ever volunteers to jump to the end.
Well, I know that I have a lot more to say, but I understand.
I can feel it.
I hope that we keep that in mind as we move forward. This industry affects so many other facets of our economy, from tourism to restaurants to dry cleaners. This is about jobs, economic growth, and stability for all of us in California. We need to extend this program to keep ahead. California is still the entertainment capital of the world, and we must work hard to keep it that way.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Angie Way on behalf of the California Labor Federation here in support. Probably the first and only tax credit we've ever supported, at least in my decade, over a decade here at the State Labor Federation. And the reason why we're supportive is that it meets all the policy priorities we've set out in terms of transparency and accountability for tax credits. It's capped, it's allocated, it's sunsetted, it's tied to payroll. It's tied to below-the-line payroll. Each and every one of them is one of our members. It's tied to you don't get the tax credit till after the production is in and your payroll has been audited and the jobs have been performed. Last year, we sponsored at the State Labor Federation, the legislature passed, and Governor Schwarzenegger then vetoed a package of bills to bring exactly this type of transparency and accountability. We wanted to know who got tax credits.
Yeah. Sergeants, we need to get some more sergeants here, or one of you has to step out. I'm not going to have any of that.
There's a lot of people here in support of the film tax credit. We sponsored legislation to make sure we knew who was getting tax credits in the states, to make sure that the tax credit was being used to create jobs. This bill, this program, meets all of those policy priorities. For its transparency and for its accountability, we would ask for your support.
Thank you. Next, please.
I'm here with the California Film Commission.
You need to speak up a little, and I think, is that mic on?
I think it is.
Okay.
There we go. I'm with the California Film Commission. I'm here to answer any questions that the members may have.
One more speaker in favor, and then we'll just take names and addresses. Any more in favor? All righty. Then, if there's no more in favor, then we're going to go to opposition.
Oh, favor. We have.
In favor. Yeah,
okay.
Those who want the bill.
Yeah, that would
there you go.
Tom Davis with the ITSC. We represent the below-the-line crew people, the camera people, the grips, electricians, the hairdressers, the makeup artists, and it goes on and on and on. We are proud to be a part of this bill. We believe that it serves a true economic benefit to the state of California. As was stated before, this is one of those few instances where we actually have a tax credit bill that offers employment before, and I need to emphasize before, any credits are issued. It's intelligently written, and we would ask the committee for their support.
Thank you. I'd like all 3 seats cleared. We'll call you back if there's questions, but first we're going to take everybody who's in favor, come up, give us your name, and if you could go off that way, it's a little less awkward. Come on up.
Thane Green, International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, Local 122, San Diego, in favor.
Thank you. San Diego, I heard that.
Dooner, IATSC, Local 871, in support.
Scott Wetch on behalf of the State Association of Electrical Workers, the California State Pipe Trades Council, the Western States Council of Sheet Metal Workers, and the Elevator Constructors Union, in support.
Thank you. Thank you.
Christy Bauman, California Professional Firefighters, in support.
Paul Ahrens, IATSC, Local 44, Affiliated Property Craftspersons, in support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Beverly Lewis, Chair of the Film Liaisons in California statewide, representing all the film commissioners in the state, including the one in San Diego.
Thank you.
Lucy Stephan, Sacramento Film Commission, in support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Melissa Patak with the Motion Picture Association of America, in support.
Kathy Garmazy with the Directors Guild of America, in support.
Jennifer Hayter, Screen Actors Guild, in support.
Very broad, Teamsters Public Affairs Council, and these movies get made all over the state. Making Sons of Anarchy right here in the Central Valley, Appalachia of California. Here we are.
Andrew Anthony, occasionally they make some movies in Los Angeles too, and we're support.
Thank you. All right. Any other testimony in favor? Is there opposition testimony? Come on up. Then we'll hear from Finance. And then, Mr. Fuentes, you may close after that.
Madam Chairwoman and members, Jai Suprasad with the California School Employees Association. I must regretfully take an opposed position. We traditionally take this position against tax credits given the soft economic forecast, and schools are at risk of additional cuts here in the near future, and that schools have already taken an $18 billion cut over the year. We're still reeling from it. Unfortunately, and we also want to say that we appreciate the author and his staff working with us and sharing a lot of the good information that's available in this, but we must take our traditional position of opposition to the tax credit at this time.
Thank you. Any other testimony opposed to the bill? Opposed? Finance, do you have a comment?
We've identified a loss of revenue of $83 million in 2015-16, and we're opposed.
Members, this is a candidate for suspense. You can see there's significant fiscal issues here. Any questions, any objections to suspense? We'll take questions from Senator Pavley and then from Senator Liu.
Yes, I had supported this the first time around enthusiastically, so I know many of the people actually work behind the scenes, not out in front of the cameras, and they feel this is incredibly important. But I had two questions. Is this like the past bill that is limited to the smaller production companies and movie production?
It is. This is an extension of the program that you had voted for in the past. So it's capped at $75 million production. So nothing has changed. The only thing that would change is sort of the effective dates of the program. We would extend it an additional 5 years from when it's supposed to sunset, which is in July of 2012.
And two follow-up questions to that. Does it also have the same requirement that most of the production or the vast majority of it have to be in-state?
Identical to the last program. Nothing has changed.
Nothing
That's
has
correct.
changed. And then one thing that was somewhat of conflict, I thought the Senator Prop's analysis was quite good, but there was one sort of difference of opinion in that the Senate Appropriations staff notes that the current film tax credit productions are authorized until July 1st, 2014, and you, I believe, stated that the program ends or the money runs out July 1st of 2012?
The eligible projects have to be sourced by 2012. As you saw in my, or heard in my introduction, this measure is very interesting in that the productions that have been sort of authorized, or rather eligible in 2009, have yet to receive the tax credit until this year. So there is a float of sorts to the state and a real benefit in that there's about 2 or 3 year lag time before the state actually has to pay for the certified, allocated, and capped tax credit. So it's an important thing to note because California benefits from that sort of ability.
So it's not premature.
That's correct.
All right. Thank you.
Senator Liu?
Yeah, thank you, Senator Fuentes, for bringing this important bill. I believe it will have a net positive impact on the California economy. I do urge it come off suspense at the appropriate time, and when it does, like to be added as a co-author. We're not going to compete in California making socks. It's going to be in those industries where we can compete in. This is one of those signature industries, and we ought to be able to compete there, and would love to be added as co-author. Thank you.
Great. Absolutely.
Senator Alquist?
While it's on suspense, I would like to be added as a co-author also.
Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Any other? Senator Price, do you have a comment?
I do. I would also like to express my support for the bill. Certainly, I think it is the kind of a shot in the arm that the industry can benefit from. Question, does it include television production this year, or is it just film? It does include television production?
It does include basic cable television and TV that relocates from out of state.
Excellent. Okay, great. Well, I do, Madam Chair, I too would like to be added as a co when it comes off.
Members, we've got that noted.
Put me down too. Might as well join the group.
All righty. Well, they're flocking to the bill.
Yes, they are, Madam Chair. Thank you for noticing. I will be very, very brief in my conclusion. This measure is a very important measure in that I think the big question for the committee, aside from the concern with the $83 million, I think, in cost in 15-16 is twofold. Is one, how much bang for your buck do you get with this particular program? Our evidence seems to believe that we've got about $3.8 billion in documented economic activity in California. For $83 million, that's a heck of a deal. The last thing I would point out is that this measure is one that enjoys broad support because it's the right type of program. It's one that's allocated, it's capped, it's one that has to happen after post-production. And the question really for for us is what would have happened to the economy had this measure not been in place and adopted in 2009. You heard from, I think, many stakeholders with obvious interest in the program, but the impact with the economy to their particular industry, I think, would have been much deeper had this program not been in place. That, unfortunately, is something that I can't document for you. I don't know how many jobs we would have lost had this program not been in place, but I do believe that it's a fair program. I want to thank you and Chairwoman Woke for your concern about the bill. We've had various stakeholder meetings in trying to decide how to deal with the single sales factor component in this measure. Now, while it hasn't been raised by this panel, let me say that it's been very productive in that I think there are significant challenges in trying to implement a single sector, rather a single sales factor into this sector. It's very difficult to do, and I think the best way to address that would be in a statewide fashion. I understand that this committee has heard Senator De Leon's bill, which I think is the appropriate vehicle for that conversation, but eager to continue the conversations with Senator Woke and obviously, Madam Chair, with your Appropriations Committee and yourself. So with that, I respectfully ask for your consideration as this bill makes its way through your appropriations process, and hopefully we'll be able to earn enough support to get a vote on the floor.
Thank you, Senator. Members, as I said, without objection, the item goes to suspense, and we'll be dealing with it a week from Thursday. In the meantime, we'll work with you in your office.
Thank you for the promotion. I'm an Assembly member. Thank you.
Thank you. There is one more item by Assemblymember Fuentes. That's 1072. He's waived presentation on it. This is the California Promise neighborhood. So to the public, are there members of the public who want to testify in favor of AB 1072? 1072. Seeing none, is there opposition to AB 1072? And Finance, I don't see any opposition. Finance, do you have a comment?
We have an opposed position on the bill.
No position on the bill?
Have an
Opposed position on the bill. All righty, that item goes to suspense as well. Thank you, Assembly Member. Mr. Bell, you made a special request for your witness. So with everyone's indulgence, I'd like to take up one of Mr. Bell's items because his witness cannot stay all too long. Let's see. Mr. Bell's items are on page 2. We're taking up one item, AB 136, and we'll take testimony. This is an item for suspense, so we'll take testimony in favor and then opposition testimony and then Department of Finance. Mr. Bell, you want to open on the bill, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. The CTAP program is the California Telephone Access Program. It's a component of the state's deaf and disabled telecommunication programs that loans telecommunication equipment to people with disability who need it to communicate by telephone. Despite the intent of this program, the Public Utilities Commission has not provided a newly developed communication devices, in particular speech-generating devices, to people with the most severe disabilities who cannot communicate by telephone without them. This is contrary not only to the statute of CTAP, but the state and federal laws prohibiting discrimination based on a disability. This bill, AB 136, will correct this. The program is funded by a small surcharge on users' phones. It's a current charge that's on the phone bills right now. The surcharge was reduced 3 years ago because it had a large surplus. It amounts to about 20 cents on a $100 phone bill. That's the surcharge that we're talking about. We've been working with the Utilities and Commerce Committee regarding some amendments that would require applicants to ensure coverage for their health insurance to fund some of these, and while the bill is on suspense, we'll continue to work with the staff of your committee and the other Senate committee to consider the further amendments to clarify that we're going to try to minimize the impact on ratepayers.
Thank you.
And we have a witness, Molly Milan, is our witness.
Molly Milan is the young woman in the corner here. Okay,
yes,
we'll go to Ms. Milan first then. Ms. Milan, are you ready to testify? All righty.
Just a second.
We can wait.
Good morning. My name is Molly Millen. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today and to share some of my story with you. I am 20 years old. I love school, being with friends, going places, and I love music. Like most people, I communicate in different ways. I understand a lot and I can answer yes by turning my head to the left or raising my left hand. Using my communication device is important to me in my life. I can let people know what I need or want, or if I need help. I work part-time at Big Lots. At work, I use my communication device to greet customers and provide information. And at school, I can participate and talk about many of the things I do and enjoy. I can't talk on the phone nor in person to my friends and family. I can also receive and send email. I'm still learning to use my communication device. I'm learning to be more independent. I think everybody needs a way to express themselves the best they can. It helps us to feel connected and that we are not alone. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for listening to what I have to say.
Thank you very much for your testimony. I've never seen the device operate, so it was helpful for me. And you, sir, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name's Al Milan. I'm Molly's father. And quickly, she does what you call scan and switch. So she's got a screen. She's watching boxes of choices. When it gets to her collection, she'll click it, and then she'll choose the space or the place where she has worked on putting her input that she wants to share.
Thank you. Very good. All right, we'll take two more witnesses.
Madam Chair, Gary Cooper representing Dynavox. Molly is using a Dynavox technology, but there are many other companies that produce the same technology. I just would briefly like to address the fiscal concerns of the bill. There were some concerns that this program, adding this technology to the program, would be about $11 million. We've done actuarial studies to show that there are about 1,300 users in California, of which about 80% to 90% of them already have third-party coverage. So that would leave between 130 and, say, 250 that would actually be needed to use under this particular program. The average device costs the state, whether it's Medi-Cal or PUC or Medicare covers it as well, about $7,000. So if you extrapolate that out, we're talking about $1.4 million. That would be what the PUC would probably be on the hook for, plus some extra expenses, for example, staffing and so forth. But the particular product itself would only cost the state about $1.4 million. We'd ask your support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next, please.
Bless Shepard, representing the California ALS Advocacy Committee. ALS is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and we're in strong support of this bill.
Thank you. And now your name and position on the bill, sir. Thank you.
Greg DeGier with the ARC and United Cerebral Palsy, and we support the bill.
Thank you. Other testimony in favor? If you folks could go off this way, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
In favor. Come on up and tell us your name.
Hi, I'm Bill Barnaby Jr., California Speech Language Hearing Association, and in support.
Thanks, Mr. Barnaby. Anyone else in favor? In favor.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Is there opposition to AB 136? Any opposition? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment on this?
We're neutral, no concerns.
Neutral, no concerns. Thank you. And Mr. Bell, you may close. This is an item for suspense, members.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll work with the committee on any future amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Seeing no objections, the file item goes to suspense. Thank you, Mr. Bell. We'll work with you in the meantime. Members, as you know, we have another bill with a lot of public testimony. That's Mr. Fong's AB 376. I'd like to go to that now and see if he can dispense with it before floor session at noon. Mr. Fong, you want to come up? We are at AB 376 on shark fins. And this is a suspense item, members. We'll take three testimony in favor to the authors and then also to the public, we want to focus on fiscal issues only before this committee. We've had a lot of discussion about the bill, so let's stick to the fiscal issues. All righty, Mr. Fong, go right ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. For 400 million years, sharks have played an integral part of our ocean ecosystem, but they may be extinct within our lifetime because of the demand for shark fins. According to the University of California scientists, at least 107 species of sharks worldwide warrant international concern. And there's good reason for concern. Marine biologists tell us that when shark populations are destroyed, the overall health of the ocean ecosystem declines rapidly and can ultimately collapse. Like elephant ivory, shark fin is sold for astronomical sums to those who can afford it as a symbol of wealth and status. And like those other destructive trade, the shark fin trade drives mass slaughter, poaching, inhuman practices, and crime. Shark fins sell for up to 250 times the value of shark steaks and other body parts. Without its valuable fin, an entire shark carcass is worth between $0 to $100. This economic distortion means that most sharks are finned at sea or on the docks, and their bodies left to drown or rot. In Policy Committee, I committed to working on the issues raised in the Natural Resources Committee. I'm confident that the discussions with the committee and the stakeholders will be productive in the next week. My joint author and I will continue to work with senators, this committee's chair, our sponsors, scientists, wildlife experts to address our commitments to the natural resources while still protecting shark populations. We will continue to work on amendments while this measure is on suspense to craft a solution in a way that meets my commitment and avoids cost.
Mr. Hoffman, a brief opener.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, as joint author, as we think about the fiscal considerations with this bill, I hope we will keep in mind the importance of a healthy ocean ecosystem, which is a very big part of California's economy and our quality of life. We know that if shark populations are decimated, there are ripple effects that can affect us adversely with our economy, with coastal tourism, with our seafood industry, and with our quality of life. So our ask is that by passing this bill, California join with our Pacific coastal neighbors, where they have already stepped up to take action to shut down the fin trade. Where they have done that in states like Hawaii, they have not seen negative economic consequences. It's been just fine. So it is our turn now in California, and we respectfully request an aye vote.
All righty, we'll go to your witnesses then, the first three witnesses. Who wants to start? Go right ahead.
I'll start. Madam Chairwoman, members, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Bo Derrick. I am United States Special Envoy of the Secretary of State for Wildlife Trafficking and have been involved in wildlife conservation for the past decade. I was born and raised in California, currently reside in Santa Ynez in California's 19th district. Sharks have been around for nearly 400 million years, and yet many stocks may be wiped out in a single human generation due to the increasing demand for shark fin. The global trade in shark fins threatens to cause the collapse of fisheries and other ocean resources that we all depend upon. Unfortunately, California participates in this decimation, providing a significant consumption and trafficking point for the international trade and supporting the trade in other countries. California imports and traffics shark fins from all over the world, including Asia, and from other U.S. states in the Gulf and East Coast, where many shark populations have been depleted by over 90%. Approximately 85% of all known U.S. dried shark fin imports come through California. Due to this activity, the United States ranks 7th largest of 87 countries that traffic or export fins to Hong Kong. Aside from trafficking, fisheries regulators estimate that California imports about 30 tons of dried fins each year. And the amount of fins coming to California is likely much higher, given that fin trading is often unchecked and unreported. Passage of AB 376 will close down the West Coast, eliminating the largest and last of the U.S.'s Pacific ports supporting the global fin trade. California is viewed globally as a leader in environmental regulation. Therefore, it is absolutely appropriate and necessary that we exhibit leadership in solving what has become a global environmental crisis. Even China is looking at banning shark fin. In a campaign led by a billionaire lawmaker in the People's Congress and NBA star Yao Ming, a ban in China is likely the silver bullet needed to fully protect sharks, but they are watching California closely. Madam Chairwoman and members, I beseech you to pass AB 376 and end our state's involvement in this highly destructive global shark fin trade. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, please.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, good morning. My name is Sue Chen. I am the CEO of Nova Medical Products and Director of Shark Savers. I am proud to be a successful employer in the state and contribute to our economy. The shark fin trade is a direct threat to the growth and survival of businesses that rely on healthy fisheries, sustainable seafood, and ecotourism. A live shark is worth thousands more than a dead shark finned. And I am a business person, a conservationist, as well as one of the many Chinese Americans in California that oppose the shark fin ban. In fact, research conducted by a nationally respected polling firm in February found that over 70% of California's Chinese Americans support a ban on shark fin. This result does not surprise me. The importance of preserving harmony is well documented in over 4,000 years of Chinese philosophy. Shark fin soup is a luxury item. It's just a soup. It's just one dish on a menu that is vast and evolving. Claims made by the restaurant conglomerates and shark fin traders that a ban on shark fin is discriminatory to Chinese is a fabrication to disguise and distract us from the truth, the cruelty of finning, the reality of poaching, the massive impact of shark extinction to our planet, and how we Chinese Americans truly feel. Moneyed interests do not have a monopoly on my culture and should not define it. On behalf of the overwhelming majority of California's Chinese Americans and California's kids, who just 48 hours ago gathered in Manhattan Beach Pier to rally and chanted, "Save our sharks, save our sharks."
All right.
They deserve an ocean. I ask for your A vote on AB 376.
Thank you very much. Next, please.
Madam Chairwoman, members, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Peter Knights. I'm the Executive Director of WildAid. I'm a 13-year resident of California. For the last 22 years, I've specialized in conducting investigations into the trade in vulnerable species, sometimes going undercover to find out how they truly operate. Since 1998, I've investigated the shark fin trade in 13 different countries. Sharks are facing a global crisis of catastrophic scale, with up to 73 million sharks a year being used by the fin trade. Fins will disappear from shops and restaurants. The only question is whether we choose to conserve stocks and protect our ocean ecosystems, or if they sell out as populations collapse. Our field experience with the trade and our work supporting government enforcement efforts in Ecuador, Costa Rica, and Indonesia provide constant reminders that demand far outstrips the supply. Up to 10,000 shark fins at a time have been seized in the Galapagos World Heritage Marine Reserve, for example. Fins from these countries and others throughout the world are traded through California's borders and ports and sold here every day. Our investigations show that finning bans are hard to enforce and ineffectual unless supported by market sales bans. Even DNA testing does not establish the source of a fin. Thus, a legal shark fin could come in legally from Californian waters and marine reserve like the Galapagos. I was involved in exposing the failed efforts to regulate the ivory trade. 20 years of regulation resulted in a dramatic 50% decline in African elephant populations. The abuses and laundering using legal trade to cover illegal activity were widespread. Ivory prices plummeted and elephant numbers stabilized only when a ban was introduced. A ban on shark fin sales prevents California from being complicit in these destructive activities and would shut down a significant consumption, entry, and trafficking point that supports this market. On Saturday, I just returned from China, and I can tell you that Californians and others throughout the world are waiting for California to act decisively to help protect our own and global shark populations. We simply do not have time to fail with half measures. I thank the committee for moving this forward. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's our 3 in favor. All the rest of the public testimony in favor, if you give us your name and position on the bill. And if I could ask the 3 speakers to go off this way, we'll bring up all the other members of the public who want to say they support the bill. Thank you again for your testimony. righty. Give us your name, sir.
Hi, my name is David McGuire. I'm the director of Sea Stewards. I'm also a shark biologist.
And you're in favor of the bill.
I am in favor of the
Thank
bill.
you. That's all we're going to take. Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, Jennifer Fearing on behalf of the Humane Society of the United States in strong support.
Michael Sutton with the Monterey Bay Aquarium and the California Fish and Game Commission, urging your aye vote.
Christina Eyes with Sierra Club California, and we support this bill.
Thank you.
Judy Key, co-chair of Asian Pacific American Ocean Harmony Alliance. We support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Key.
Roxanne Fernandez on behalf of Sharks and in support.
Thank you.
Michael Bailey on behalf of the Gaia Force and In Defense of Animals. We support this bill entirely.
Thank you. Next, please.
Holly Treef, member of the American Veterinary Medical Association, in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
June Bernard with the Blue Frontier Campaign. I strongly support this bill.
Thank you. And folks, if you could speak up a little bit so we hear your name.
Terry March with the Sea Turtle Restoration Project and Sea Stewards, and we strongly propose this bill.
Thank you. Support the bill. Yeah.
Sorry.
Next, please.
Heather Canini, as an individual, I support this bill, AB 376. Please pass it.
Thank you. Next, please.
Kevin Sullivan, Southern California, 25-year aerospace engineer, volunteer leader for Shark Savers. Please pass AB 376 in unamended original form. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Liz Sullivan with Shark Savers, and I very, very strongly support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Georgine Bradley, Sea Safe Foundation. I implore you to pass this without amendments.
Thank you.
Hi, Richard Turgeon from San Francisco. Please pass no amendments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Abby Smigel Mullins, San Francisco. I'm in support of AB 376.
Rebecca Lee of San Francisco, in support, 非常支持 AB 376. 谢谢.
Thank you.
Diane Battaglia, local Sacramento student. I strongly support this bill.
Thank you.
Maggie Frias, National Association of Realtors. Please support this bill. Thank you. I'm in support of this bill. Thank you.
Crystal Molenkamp on behalf of the Nature Conservancy in strong support.
Paul Metansala from Sacramento. I support.
Sorry. Bailey Egan, biology student, and I support this bill.
Lauren Gilbertson, and I strongly support this bill.
Ming Ang from the Sea Turtle Restoration Project, and we support this bill.
Deb Castellana from the Sylvia Earle Foundation. We strongly support this bill without amendments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Layla Monroe, Natural Resources Defense Council. We strongly support this bill.
Kim Flaherty from Mill Valley, and I strongly support this bill without amendments. Thank you.
Nicole Catalana with Pacific Environment in strong support of this bill.
Hi, I'm Sherilyn Chin Jose. I'm a Chinese American and a marine biologist, and I strongly support this bill without amendments.
Michelle Tarantino from Sacramento, and I support this bill.
Christopher Chin with CORE, the Center for Oceanic Awareness, Research, and Education, in unequivocal support.
Laura Vargas from Sacramento, and I strongly support this bill.
I'm Lisa Thomas from Penn Valley, California. I strongly support this bill, and I urge you to support it unamended. For the next generation, they want sharks in their
Thank
oceans.
you. Next, please.
I am Jim Curlin with Defenders of Wildlife, and we strongly support this bill.
Hello, Marcela Gutierrez with the Latino Ocean Conservation Council. Strong support as a stand, no amendments.
Thank you.
I'm Sava Kaufbusch from Mill Valley, California, and I'm a scuba diver. I dive all over the world, and I'm deeply concerned, and I hope that you support that. I would like to support the bill, and I hope that you support it as well.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you. Paul Hobie, Ocean Conservancy. On behalf of our over 10,000 California members, I ask you to please support the bill with no amendments.
Thank you.
Ashley Blako with Oceana in strong support.
Julianne Beebe from Huntington Beach. I support the bill.
Jenna Price on behalf of the Planning and Conservation League. We strongly support the bill, and we urge that you take it without any amendments. Thank you.
Maya Cooper from Marin County. Please support the bill.
Rachel O'Brien on behalf of the California League of Conservation Voters. We are in support of the bill and ask you to please do not take amendments up.
I'm Tom Law from the Bay Area. I fully support this bill.
Thank you.
C.T. Weber, Peace and Freedom Party of California, State Chair, support the bill.
All righty. Any other testimony in favor? In favor of the bill AB 376. Then we'll take opposition testimony. Same format. 3 speakers opposed to the bill. All the rest just name and position on the bill. Opposition testimony. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kelly Jensen, representing business owners and community activists around the state. As the committee knows, there was much discussion of this bill in Policy Committee. There were commitments made by the authors to sit down with the opposition to talk about amendments that were asked for by several members, 3 or 4 members of the Policy Committee. Those discussions have not taken place. We look forward to having those discussions over the next week to see if we can work something out as it relates to this bill. We do believe that this bill is an overreaction and will have significant impacts on business owners around the state. We have 3 here today to discuss that. We will start with Brian.
Okay, 2 more speakers, and then we will have folks state their name.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Senators. My name is Brian Cann, and I represent my family.
A little bit louder, sir.
My name is Brian Cann, and I represent my family's company, Pacific Seafood Trading Company. We've been in business for 24 years. Our company has 2 stores in San Francisco Chinatown District with 1 processing facility in South San Francisco. We staff 13 workers, and shark fin sales represents 50% of our sales. We believe that if AB 376 were to be approved, we would have to largely downsize, meaning stores would be closed and we have to lay off a majority of our staff and shut down most of our operations. And we believe that AB 376 does not benefit California, only hurts its economy, because you'll lose valuable tax dollars from sales tax and income taxes from small and medium enterprises such as ourselves, restaurants, fisheries, and retail stores. As merchants, we do not support inhumane fishing methods for shark fin. We also do not support aggressive shark finning. We strive for sustainability to stay in business. Currently, 85% of our shark fin suppliers are legal domestic commercial fisheries that follows federal and state laws that protect the conservation of sharks. The other 15 is legally obtained through U.S. domestic importers of shark fin with international trade permits. We believe that AB 376 punished the wrong people, and the problem is global consumption, not California's consumption. So I urge you to please oppose 376 or to amend the bill to allow sales of shark fin that are acquired through legally caught shark fin acquired through domestic suppliers.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good morning, Chairwoman Kehoe, State Senators. My name is Michael Kwong. I'm the 4th generation in my family to be involved in shark fin business. I'm here today representing the Asian American Rights Committee of California, where our focus at this time is centered on the adverse fiscal impact that Assembly Bill 376 will have on the state of California. I want to preface my statement by giving credit to David Sung. He's a restaurateur and also a CPA who did an exhaustive financial study pro bono of 376's financial cost of California. And his findings points to an immediate loss of revenue to the state of about $22 million right off the bat. AB 376 will cause immediate loss of revenues to the licensing from California Fish and Game and California Department of Health of about $500,000 right off. AB 376 will hurt sales tax revenues to the state from restaurants and retail stores, and we're estimating that at about $11 million. And AB 376 will increase the expenditures for investigating, enforcement, and the judicial processing of the of 376 at about $10 million. Subsequently, there will be a ripple effect through a number of industries. For instance, trucking and airline services for interstate commerce, professional services, and most importantly, our exports to Asia will decline. There's also the human toll AB 376 will cause, job losses from my industry and the restaurant industries, and most likely restaurant closures. AB 376 is a global issue and should be brought up to the United Nations. California and the United States already have on the books legislation damning the horrific practice of finning. The world must be aware and take up our conservation acts to protect the global fisheries. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this issue.
Thank you for your remarks. We have not seen your study. We'd appreciate you forwarding a copy to the committee. Right here, Mr. McCarthy. Next, please.
Yeah, my name is Tony Mack. I have been trading U.S. domestic and legally produced shark fin for 25 years. The federal government has been managing and monitoring commercial shark fishing in U.S. coastal water for 17 years. This includes the establishment of fishing season in different state and coastal regions, which have served to regulate the production and sales of shark meat and fin. In addition, the federal government has done research to determine quotas that allow shark fishery to be sustainable in U.S. coastal water. As the federal government has set up this guideline and regulation, this is not right for state of California to taking away the rights of the consumer to choose what they can eat and preventing legal businessmen from doing business. In fact, the market for shark fin can and is being managed. This can be seen by the banning of finning, which has been disallowed by U.S. federal law. In addition, this proposed law will badly affect the economy of California, as well as the entire U.S. economy. This is because many fisheries residing in coastal states rely on this fishery for their livelihood. Taking away this way of life will hurt small businesses such as my own in California. If this law is passed, I will have to close my business. Moreover, I represent only one person in a chain of many others who are doing the same business or related business. This includes people working in processing factory, restaurant, grocery store, and freight forwarder. The domino effect on this economic loss of business and unemployment in California will result in hundreds of millions of dollars lost in business and income revenue. Thus, the state of California will lose a huge amount of tax revenue. It will also be extremely expensive for the state to enforce such a ban. As such, this ban will significantly harm California economy. Not only that, but if this bill is passed, the production of shark meat and fin will actually not end in this country. Instead, business owners like me will have forced to move to another state to continue our livelihood. Therefore, by passing this law, California will simply losing a share of business and employment to other states for no good reason. Thus, I strongly urge to oppose the passing of the AB 376.
Thank you very much. All right, that's 3 speakers. All the remaining testimony will be name and position on the bill. And gentlemen, can I ask you to exit this way? Thank you. And if you could push the chairs in, maybe people can navigate a little better.
Senators, my name is Richard Au. I'm from San Francisco.
And
God give us 7 seas of fish to eat.
Sir, Sergeant, you're going to have to just your name and your position on the bill, all right? So if, Mr. Lang, if you can help your clients understand what... Thank you. Good. Next, please. Next, please.
Oppose the bill.
All righty.
Hope you can amend it.
All righty.
Yeah, Carl Chen representing 100,000 of Chinese Americans from Bay Area and California. And it's 10,000 signatures collected.
Thank you.
Submitted to you.
Yeah, you can give it to the sergeant, sir. Thank you.
My name is Taylor Chow, representing Asian America for Political Advancement. We strongly oppose this unjust bill.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Wilson Jian from San Francisco, and I oppose this bill.
Hi, my name is Wallace Jian from San Francisco, and I oppose this bill.
My name is Chong Lai, oppose AB 376.
My name is Angie Ain, oppose AB 376.
Thank you.
My name is Karen Kam. I oppose AB 376.
My name is Banya Ng. I would say no for AB 376 based on food for the customer.
Thank you.
My name is Sincere Ken from San Francisco. No AB 376.
My name is Annie Key, Walnut, California. No on AB 376.
My name is Andy Gu from San Francisco. No AB 366.
My name is Andy Lee from San Francisco. I'm a consumer and no on AB 76.
Thank you.
My name is Bonnie Lee.
My name is 姚蘭武，我反對376提案。
Thank you.
My name is Bonnie Lee, San Francisco, USW Hong Kong. I'm AB 376. No good.
Madam Chair, I translate for
No，反對376。
Oppose 376.
Thank you. Okay, thanks.
No，反對376。
And
Oppose 376.
yeah, are we hearing the people's names?
我叫周素珍，我反對 AB 376。
So Zhang, oppose 376.
Yeah.
我反對376。
Yeah, oppose 376.
Wu Wing Ding, no 376。
Oppose 376.
No 376，四人揾嚟。
Yeah, oppose 376.
冇問題，no 376。
Yeah, oppose 376.
AB 376。
Yeah, oppose 376.
I wonder, sir, I'm going to use you as the interpreter. Can we just assume that everybody that's lined up is going to say their name and oppose? Maybe they can raise their hands and then they don't have to navigate the stairs.
Yeah.
All right? So those of you who are opposed. Okay. No. Okay. All right. So that's all the no's. That's all the no's.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. Very efficient. Thank you. All right. To the members of the public, we're going to let the authors close on the bill. This item is going to suspense. It will not be voted on today. But I want to say to Mr. Fong and Mr. Huffman, members of the public, please be seated. Please be seated. Thank you. I appreciate everybody taking the time to come here. Thank you, sir. Good. We heard extensive testimony on this in the Senate Natural Resources Committee. And at the time, I was very interested in the idea that where sharks are taken legally, that those fins would still be allowable in California. And these are some of the amendments that I think are under discussion with various members and with some of the stakeholders. We've talked more about it over the recess and looked at the bill more carefully, and now I have concerns that as long as any fins are allowable in California, under the guise of some being legal, that it would keep our market open to many, many, many illegal fins that I think are coming from a very wasteful practice of taking the fins off the shark and then allowing the shark to die in the water or elsewhere. So the testimony about amendments was something I paid close attention to today. So the bill is going to suspense, as the authors know, but we'll be working with your offices in the meantime to see what changes, if any, that you're going to take to the bill. So please close, and then we'll take comments from the members, unless there's questions now. Okay.
Washington, Hawaii in banning the sale of shark's fin, and I will be working on the amendments with you and the committee members and everyone that's concerned about this issue.
Thank you. Mr. Huffman, anything?
Just to add, Madam Chair, that those meetings with the opposition have occurred. The communications have continued. We're willing to continue those conversations. So to the extent there was an implication that there was no dialogue, that is incorrect. We are working. We just are not in agreement at this point.
All righty. Understood. Finance, did I ask you for your comments?
We're neutral on the bill.
You are neutral on the bill. Members, Senator Liu.
Yeah, so I have a question for the authors. As you know, every year, NOAA and the National Marine Fisheries Service has provided a report to Congress on shark finning. And I'm looking at the latest report in 2010. And in Chapter 3, they have a section on exports and imports in the United States. So I want to make sure that I'm reading this report correctly. I want to give you a chance to respond. So you don't have to respond today, but it will be helpful in my thinking over the next 10 days on this bill. But when I read this report, it does show the last 5 years of imports, and it shows to me that in 2009, for instance, the percent of imports of shark fins in the United States was less than 0.2%, 0.15. So 99.85% of all shark fins imported anywhere were not in the U.S. And then I looked at exports, and it shows that 0.77% of shark fins were exported from the U.S. So 99.22% of the shark fin export trade was not in the U.S. And California would be even a smaller number than that. I just want to make sure I'm reading these numbers correctly. If you could take a look at the report, it's a 100-page report, and then give me or my office a response this week, that'd be appreciated.
We'll take a look at the report.
Any other comments, members? I want to thank all the people who came over from San Francisco. I know it's a little bit of a long drive. It's an important bill. We want to work with you, but without objection, the item goes to suspense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody. That bill is dispensed with. We're going to return to the regular file. Members, we have a few minutes. I wonder if we could dispense with the wave presentations, try to move through them, and then we'll go to the floor. I don't see any authors, so. Oh, okay. Beg your pardon. Let me. Mr. Bradford, you're first on the file. You have two items, AB 38, banking in underserved communities. That is a due pass, and we're ready for you whenever you are.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, I'm here to present AB 38, which is banking in underserved areas in the state of California. This is a straightforward bill. It just asks the Department of Financial Institutions to identify those areas lacking in the state of California that need depository services in those communities. Currently, 1.5 Californians lack bank accounts. That's either with a banking institution or a credit union, meaning about $40,000 over the life of these individuals and additional fees that they pay to check cashing places and payday lenders. So in order to avoid this, we're just asking the Department of Finance to identify those areas. Currently, Fresno and Los Angeles County are the second and third highest unbanked areas in the state of California, and I think it speaks to the need to for this bill. There are similar bills throughout the country creating banking development bills. I had a similar bill last year that got to the governor's desk that was vetoed. This does not create the banking development districts. It only asks to identify those communities that are not being banked. The committee estimates that the impact of this bill is about $75,000 for the Department of Finance to compile this information and post it on its website. AB 38 is supported by the City of Los Angeles, the Alameda County Board of Supervisors, the California Bankers Association, California Credit Union League, and Green Lining Institute, among others. Today, in support to speak on this bill is Olivia Calderon from New America Foundation. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bradford. We'll go to your witness.
Madam Chairs, members, Olivia Calderon with the New America Foundation, a national not-profit think tank. We are very much in support of efforts to create opportunities for low and middle-income Californians to build their savings and their assets over their lifetime. In order to do that, the first step is a bank account, and we know that an estimated 1.3 million Californians are underbanked and unbanked, meaning they don't have a basic savings or checking account or a relationship with the Main Street financial institution, and that relegates them, of course, to fringe outlets that charge exorbitant fees for something as simple as cashing their paycheck. This, of course, is a cost-effective and smart step forward to build on what we've created over the years, which is the Bank On program, which is a partnership between existing banks and credit unions with local elected officials and community-based organizations. Of course, the key to the Bank On program that's now been replicated in over 100 cities and 5 states across the country is partnerships with the existing banks and credit unions in communities. But in areas like in areas of Los Angeles, in the San Joaquin Valley, like in Pixley, California, where there are no banks to partner with, a banking development district program could create that. And so on the fiscal issue, I think that this is a very important step. The member took amendments to whittle down and create a mapping. I think that it's a very important first step. So
any additional testimony in favor? Thank you, Ms. Any additional testimony in favor? We've got one more.
quick. Steve Wallach on behalf of the Alameda County Board of Supervisors are also in support of this bill and taking this first step to kind of map out where banking needs are needed.
Thank you. Any other testimony in favor of AB 38? In favor. Any opposition testimony to AB 38? Any opposition? Seeing none. Finance, do you have a comment?
I have no file on this one.
All righty, members, this is a due pass. Senator Alquist moves the bill. Any questions? Senator Price.
Yeah, I just want to applaud the author. I know he's been at this for the past several sessions. I think this is a reasonable approach to get at something we all know is that certain communities remain underserved. And so I appreciate your efforts, and I'd like to be added as a if there's no objections.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Price. I agree. There are a lot of communities in California that are underserved financially, leaving the door open to more predatory practices. So we have a motion by Senator Alquist. No further questions. Please call the roll.
Kehoe?
Aye.
Kehoe, aye. Walters? Walters, no. Alquist?
Aye.
Alquist, aye. Emerson? Emerson, no. Liu? Liu, aye. Pavley? Price? Price, aye. Runner? Steinberg?
4-2, we need one more vote. Senator Pavley's out of the room, but should be within the sound of my voice, I think. I'll keep the roll open for a few minutes. Thank you, Assemblymember Bradford. You have one more item. You've waived presentation on 1379, but I'll ask, is there public testimony in favor of AB 1379 on public pensions? Anybody in favor of AB 1379? Seeing none, is there opposition to AB 1379? Finance, do you have a comment?
We're opposed to the bill because we don't believe it's necessary.
You're opposed, and what was the rest?
Because we don't believe it's necessary.
Alrighty. This item is a candidate for suspense, members. Unless there's objections, it'll go to the suspense file.
Thank you, Senators. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm going to wait
Bradford.
presentation on the bill.
Appreciate it. Mr. Fuhrer, what's your pleasure? Can we dispense with AB 52 before the floor session?
I think so.
All right. Then come on up. Please be brief. The testimony will be limited to 2 and 2.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As noted, I am waiving presentation on the balance of my bills pending before the committee. With regard to AB 52, this legislation had a thorough vetting in the Senate Health Committee, and I think the committee members in this room are very well aware of the issues with which this bill is attempting to contend. Astronomical health insurance increases that are devastating to small businesses and individuals and families. So this bill is trying to change that status quo, to give one thing to state regulators, and that's the power to say no to excessive or inadequate or discriminatory rate increases, as 35 other states already have in place. Now, I am cognizant of the fiscal focus in this committee, and let me say just a couple things about the fiscal analysis, mention some amendments that are being discussed now, and conclude if I could. Regarding the fiscal analysis, there is, I think, a great deal of uncertainty regarding the costs that would be incurred were this bill to be in effect. But one thing is very certain. There is no general fund impact from this legislation, no matter whose estimates of costs one believes, because these are specially funded expenses, the source of which would be fees, and very worthwhile for consumers, by the way. If all the highest estimates were to be passed along to consumers in California, it would be a very nominal amount, a few dollars per person. One rate rejection would more than make up for all those costs taken together. Now, there have been a number of conversations that have ensued since the Health Committee convened in this room with the chair of the Health Committee and others regarding areas for which amendments are going to be taken. And those amendments in general include elements that are increasing transparency for public disclosure of rate cost drivers and logistical issues between the insurance exchange and rate regulation, triggers for a large group. A number of such issues are under conversation right now. I won't belabor them because they're policy issues, but suffice to say at this moment we are dead set on finding a practical way to assure that consumers in this state get the relief from skyrocketing health insurance increases that other state residents throughout the country have have been able to receive. And with that, I know this bill is going
Very
to
good.
suspense. Thank
Mr.
you.
Jones, let's go to your witnesses. We'll take two and then the opposition, the way we've been doing it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, Senators Dave Jones, Insurance Commissioner, in strong support of this measure. This bill simply extends the very successful Proposition 103, which already gives the Department of Insurance the authority to reject excessive rate hikes for auto, property, and casualty insurance, extends that to health insurance. Consumers, businesses, families in California have been suffering under year-to-year increases, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. Most Californians are surprised to learn their insurance commissioner and DMHC does not have the authority to reject excessive rates. On the fiscal, a couple of very important points. Again, no general fund impact, entirely special funded. My department estimates $600,000 in the first year, $1 million ongoing in costs. In particular, our department has had direct experience with rate regulation under Proposition 103. I know that DMHC has not had that opportunity yet, but here's the good news. Both departments are currently already reviewing under SB 1163 both small group and individual rate filings. So no additional costs associated with those filings. We're already doing it. In addition, as to the question of what costs might be associated with hearings, we've had experience at the Department of Insurance. We get between 6,000 and 8,000 rate filings a year already for auto, property, and casualty insurance, and our average number of hearings is one per year. One per year. And I think that's very important for you to understand and take into account as you're looking at the various projections by various parties with regard to what the hearing experience might be. One per year. We haven't had a hearing for 2 years, and in the past couple of years, no litigation.
All right.
So we submit that the costs are minor, they're special fund, no general fund impact, and weigh that against the benefits to consumers and businesses. We look forward to working with the committee as the bill moves along. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Appreciate that. Next, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Andrew Antwi on behalf of the City of Los Angeles in support.
All righty. If we could, if you go back that way. All the rest of the folks that are in favor of the bill, Mr. Jones, we need a little easier way to get around there. Thank you.
Of course. Beth Capel on behalf of Health Access California, California Pan-Ethnic Health Network, and also on behalf of the Teamsters, the United Food and Commercial Workers, and Unite HRE in strong support.
Thank you. Next, please.
Libby Sanchez on behalf of Laborers Local 777 and 792 in strong support.
Thank you.
Dave Walrath, representing California Retired Teachers Association in support.
C.T. Weber, Peace and Freedom Party of California, State Chair, support.
Brian Rivas on behalf of the California School Boards Association in support.
Bonnie Slauson on behalf of the Community College League of California in support.
Hugh Bauer on behalf of the City of Sacramento in support.
Thank you.
Dolores Sanchez on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers in support.
Joseph Villala on behalf of the Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles, also in support.
Alicia Sanchez with the American Cancer Society in support.
Patricia Belisama on behalf of the California National Organization for Women in support.
Ana Quiros on behalf of the Latino Coalition for a Healthy California in support.
Jeanette Saripatin on behalf of MALDEF and the Latino Health Alliance in strong support.
Terry Burns on behalf of the Terry Burns on behalf of the California School Employers Association of California in support.
David Chase for Small Business Majority, and we're in support.
Reverend Lindy Ramsden on behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Legislative Ministry Action Network in strong support.
Richard Holliber, Consumer Federation of California, in support.
James Norman on behalf of the American Federation of State County Municipal Employees in support.
Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of Consumer Watchdog in support.
Geraldine Stapleton, I'm out of breath from running from upstairs, representing the National Council of Jewish Women, LA. We are in very strong support of AB 52. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Christy Bauma representing the California Professional Firefighters in support.
Thank you. Any other testimony in favor? Seeing none in favor, come on up, ma'am. One more, and then we'll take opposition. And your name and position on the bill, please.
I'm Nan Brazemer, President of the California Alliance for Retired Americans, and we are in support.
Thank you very much. Any other testimony in favor? Come on up.
Harold Boyd, United Teachers, Los Angeles, in support.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, then we'll take opposition testimony. Is there opposition? Please come forward. We're trying to get to the floor, folks. If you could be a little more timely, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Charles Bakke with the California Association of Health Plans in opposition to the bill. We don't believe that AB 52 will address the real reason that premiums are going up, which is the fact that medical costs are increasing, and some of that can be ascribed to the fact that California underpays providers under the Medi-Cal program, which the California Medical Association will speak to in just a second. We do agree with the committee analysis that the bill will be expensive. We would note that we believe the bill could actually end up costing more. The Department of Insurance, as the Commissioner mentioned, currently handles around 6,000 to 8,000 rate filings. We believe this bill, I surveyed our members, could require 16,000 rate filings because it includes large group. The rate regulation branch at the CDI currently spends around $25 million a year to process those 6,000 to 8,000 filings. So it's plausible that when the Department of Managed Healthcare gets this program up and running, it could actually be more than in the committee analysis. But we appreciate the work of your staff. We also agree with the committee analysis that the intervenor process is expensive. No other state has a process like this for health insurance premiums. Anytime you allow trial attorneys and the consumer watchdog